right, people, welcome back to Liverpool 12th Man Show. As always, you're home away from home if Anfield is what you call home. This is going to be a little bit of the transfer of truth, reality checks, and the kind of football talk they just can't replicate anywhere else. Because you are here to help me out in this conversation, and it's important that we do so together. So before we dive in, again, I'm going to start saying this on the regular. Help us hit our community goal of 50 likes. It tells YouTube that this content matters and keeps the show growing. The show has grown so incredibly well. You're part of the team, so smash the like button and definitely show proper respect for each other in the chat as we go on. So, all right, let's just get into it. Let's talk some business. Imagine this is the window. You got Jeremy Frimpong, you got Florian Wirtz, you got Milos Kerkez, you got Georgi Mamardashvili, you got Armin Pesky, you got Freddie Woodman, you got Hugo Ekitike, and now toss in Mark Guéhi, maybe even Alexander Isak. That's not just a great summer. That's a statement of intent to the league and to us as fans, I believe. It's something that I have always said that I believe that this club has the capabilities of doing. Business that shifts errors. There is a show that I've been wanting to do. I got into this discussion with Nalante. I want to say Lee was in the conversation too. It might have been just me, Nalante, and JK, but I know that was primarily me and Nalante that were going back and forth about this. And I really think that this is going to be the red era. And I really think that thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, John Conway. Big up. It really makes a difference. And it's something of, it really doesn't make a difference. Maybe I'll bring that episode out tomorrow to kind of get into, unless we have some breaking news or something else popping off, obviously. But maybe I'll put that together for you tomorrow, because it was a very interesting conversation about the errors that we've seen the Premier League go through. And I know that Manchester City has certainly put a real stranglehold over the last last 2 decades, really, but or last decade and a half, I would say, but still the same. It's a conversation having, because we're focusing on our transfer window. Our transfer window is something of things that are certainly being looked at and being often, I wouldn't go as far as say mocked, but certainly there's a lot of people out there, rivals especially, that are trying to pick and poke every little, subtle point they can in trying to get some type of a foothold in trying to, have us not be focused on a great season ahead of us. Shout out to Hylor. Shout out to Spirit of LFC fans. Shout out to Edward. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. But I wanted to ask you in the chat, we've got a nice little handful of people in the chat right now. I would love to see you guys rate this window out of 10. What would you rate this window? What would you rate this window? How would you score this window in the sense, And what pushes it from maybe an 8 to a 10, or maybe a 9 to a 6, I would love to hear what everyone thinks is their ratings for this window. Big up Red for Life. Big up Red Armchair Supporter. Is it Wirtz finally solving the midfield puzzle maybe for us? Is it because I think he's easily the most dynamic midfielder that we've had since Coutinho joined our team. Exactly what grade do you have this summer window out of 10? I see Red for Life has it at a 10, out of 10. And that's even without Isak. That's impressive. That's very impressive. Red Armchair Supporter says Isak in a center half makes it a 10. Okay. So where would you say we're at right now, Red Armchair Supporter? Would you say we're at like a 8 out of 10 possibly? And then each one of those additions, this, if we get Isak, that makes it a 9 out of 10. If we get a center half, that makes it a 10 out of 10. Is that how you're looking at it? Edward says 8 so far. We need a center back and wingers to replace Diaz. And if Chiesa goes, I am kind of worried about that too, by the way, Edward. I get that Chiesa wants to go because he wants playing time. I'm kind of disappointed in Slot that he really hasn't given Chiesa those real opportunities. I don't think that the few opportunities we've seen Chiesa play, he's played well in, by the way. In my opinion, he's played pretty well. Maybe 1 or 2 instances he might not have been to the level that we wanted to see him at, but I think he's played well in a couple of the instances that we have. Obviously scored the lone goal for us in that League Cup final. Hylor says we need a serious defender before we can call it a 10. Okay, so then Hylor, where are you at right now? If it's a serious defender, and I don't know if Mark Guéhi answers that call for a serious defender for you, but if it's a serious defender for you, where are you at right now? Are you at 9.5, or are you at a 9? You're at an 8? You can tell us. Big up AR. Good to see you. Always. Appreciate the kind words. Edward, my fault, not Edward, excuse me. Red Armchair Supporter says right now 8.5. Okay. Hyler's got a 9 out of 10. We've got some high marks. Some really, really high marks. And that's interesting. The comment I'm going to bring up is kind of going to blend with a few other of the comments, I guess you could say. But it was a notable one because it was one that I had to kind of like I had to respond to it. I know there's a lot of there's those out there, they'll say, oh, don't worry about the troll, about the rivals. Don't worry about even the red trolls, because there are trolls amongst us. Trust me. There are some trolls. There are some wolves in sheep clothing amongst us. But yeah, let me get AR's rating in here too. AR says it will be a 10 if we get what we need, which is Mark Guéhi, Leone, Baleba. Oh, wow. Well, golly. He's got Guéhi, Leone, Baleba, Isak, and Rodrygo. That's a tall order, AR. That's close to another 300 million right there, probably. That's easily, because it'd be about 40, probably 40, 50 for, let's say 40 million for Guéhi, probably another 40 million for Leone. It's going to be at least 60 million for Baleba, so that's like 140. It's going to be, I think the number they were looking for Rodrygo was 65 million. So that's at, what did I say? 40, what did I say? 100, 140. So yeah, so 205 for Rodrygo, and then you got another like 150. So that's like around, yeah, it's a little over 350, 320 million, something like that, in that range probably. I'm averaging it out so that, like, in case some of those numbers for some of those players just fluctuates a little bit here, higher or lower. I did see this too, Hyler, by the way. Hyler's saying, by the way, Inter Milan has put in an initial bid for Lookman, and if he goes to Inter, Atalanta need a replacement, and there's where Chiesa fits in. I did see that. I do understand that's going to possibly be the route for him to get back to Italy. It's a shame. I think Chiesa is a talented player. I know that it just didn't work out for him here under this coach, but that's not a reflection of the character, and certainly not a reflection of the player. If in my humble opinion. Raza Ali is asking, what do you make of Rodrygo, who wants to join Liverpool more? Rodrygo is an interesting case. Look, Rodrygo is a talented player. I don't know if he is going to. I'll ask this of you, and you can. I can give you my own opinion too. But I'll ask this of you in the chat. Does Rodrygo start in our 11? Starting 11, does Rodrygo start? I humbly don't think so, to tell you the truth. I really don't think he does. And that alone might be a stumbling block for us to pick him up, because he does want playing time. One of the main reasons why he wants to leave Real Madrid is because of the playing time. And also, where does he fit in? Big up, Kevin. Big up, Jimmy. Where does he fit in? Where does he fit in? Welcome to the show, Brian. How are you doing? Thank you for joining.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, no, sorry. It's just, I mean, people have just been listening to me for the last 3 hours, so.
Oh,
But
no.
I saw
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave you flying solo, so I just
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was the chat is one of our wingman too. So luckily we have them, but I appreciate you joining the panel with me. I have the answer. I have my own answer for that too. Not to Hyler's question. It was to Raza Ali's question, which is, what do you make of Rodrygo, who wants to join Liverpool? And I was saying, I know that you're not. I know you think he's a talented player as well. You're not really sold on him joining Liverpool. I know that too. I was listening to your show. I know that this was something that was brought up, but and I'll allow for you to elaborate. But what I was emphasizing for me is, I don't think that Rodrygo starts on this team. I humbly do not think he starts. And the reason why I say that is because I think that if we do, I do think that we might transform into a 4-4-2 if we get Isak, especially play with Ekitike and Isak up front, and then have it's technically a midfield role for him, but he would play more of a winger style role for as well. Salah on the right, and on the left you'd have Wirtz. But even if you did stay with a 4-2-3-1, you would still have Cody Gakpo on the left, Salah on the right. I don't think Rodrygo in over Cody Gakpo, especially with this coach, despite being very talented and being able to do this and that with his ball carrying skills. I still think Cody Gakpo would start over Rodrygo on that left side. And, Rodrygo is more preferable to be on the right side, and there's no way he starts over Salah. So, again, where do you put him in? And I just don't see him fitting into our team more and more that I think about it, unless he's willing to take on a reserve role. And I don't think he wants that. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, good player, bad transfer. Really is the easiest way of putting it. It's just too many uncertainties in it. Like I said, though, I don't know what's going on, but if he's being forced, it's all with the big if,
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if he's being forced out of Madrid, doesn't want to leave there, then I don't want to be the club that takes a chance on him
Mm-hmm.
for a large amount of money, especially if I'm a club in England
Mm-hmm.
and he's a Brazilian player, doesn't want to leave Madrid, Premier League, rough and tumble, all of that. I just don't like it. There's just too many red flags on it. Every transfer is a risk anyway.
Right.
There's just way too many red flags on that. If Rodrygo came to Liverpool, wanted to be here and played brilliantly, then that's a great player.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's I can't say there's no silver bullet for that one,
Mm-hmm.
no crystal ball for that one. So, but like you said, I've been saying for a while, I don't we're going to sell Diaz. He's going to join Bayern Munich. And I don't think we buy a Diaz replacement. I don't think we buy a direct Diaz replacement. We're not going to buy someone. So, okay, we sold Diaz now. So what we need to do is buy someone who did what Diaz does. We already have Gakpo, Ekitike, and Wirtz. Right, they're all left biased. They can all start in certain areas, drift into certain areas. We need to kind of unlock our thinking about how we're going to line up a little bit. It's going to be not line up. The lineup is irrelevant. It's how we're going to end up attacking. It's going to be very fluid, but we have a lot of people that can play in that left-hand role. So I think you could have a scenario where I know the Rio thing is a bit of a. He's very young, but we've got Gakpo, we've got Rio, we've got Wirtz and Ekitike who can all operate in that left-hand area. Yep. So why would you then buy a left winger? I don't
think Rodrygo is a left winger. He's more of a right winger than a left winger.
Yeah, but someone who kind of he's left, he's right, he's through the center, but someone who everyone he's not going to play where Salah plays. He's not going to play through the middle if we have Isak and Ekitike, and so to me it just makes no sense on any real level to bring him in, especially at that price. I'd rather bring in a Fofana who can cover 3 positions across the front as a Chiesa replacement.
Right.
And then you have Chiesa, or you have Fofana, Rio, Gakpo, Ekitike, Isak, and Salah.
Okay.
You don't need to. You can replace Diaz with a player, i.e., Isak, but you don't have to replace him with a dedicated left winger.
Right. Right. No, I agree. Like, yes, I know what you mean. And if anything, we have a dedicated left winger in a sense in Cody Gakpo.
Yeah, and Rio and Gakpo are there, and they're both so if Rio was 20, we wouldn't really be kind of worried, but it's the fact that Rio is only 17. It's too big a step up. Definitely, Rio isn't going to be playing Premier League games. So Cody Gakpo is injured. Who plays? That's the question. Like, that's the issue. If Cody Gakpo is injured.
I think if Cody Gakpo is injured, then you can play. We've already played, and this is something I mentioned too. You've already seen him play before. For instance, I'll bring this up. So I know that I just followed him today. So I don't know if he's going to follow me back or not. But I saw a post by Egal Talks Football. I think his show is called or something. He's an Arsenal fan for those that are wondering. And he tried to drop a little shade. It's kind of like him being like his little weirdo self in that. That's all due respect. And that he said, Liverpool need a center half and they still need a left wing. And they also need to replace Diaz, Harvey Elliott. Who else did he say we need to replace? Diaz, Elliott, Chiesa, and there was a 4th, and Nunez. Okay, and those are 4 players he said. And he says, but people still have them as favorites. And he's like, I don't understand why. And I was like, okay, we get it. You're excited because you got your striker, and you want people to rant and rave over your team now, and you want them to be the darling at the ball type thing. But I pushed back because, one, if you're going to talk about our players, you got to at least spell their names right. He didn't spell. I don't think he spelled one player's name right. Maybe that was out of, maybe that was blatant. But spelling Diaz with like D-I-A-S, for instance, or something like that. But I answered his tweet even further in saying we have plenty of players that can play left side. Dominik Szoboszlai played the left wing for us in a couple of competitions, a couple of different games. Not saying that he's going to be our next left wing, but I'm just saying that he can fill in on the pinch. We've had Rio step up immensely this year with the performance that he had. And obviously, he shows talents in that preseason game, but he's also displayed some of his talents last year in a couple of the cup games. And then you still have, if Chiesa does move on, okay, you can utilize him. But if he does move on, all well and good. we still have other players that could play in that role. Ekitike could play in that role. You could have Wirtz play in that role on the left side. It's just funny how some of these rivals now are just really, really scrambling to try to get get this, take an axe to the tree here and take us down a peg. But
Well, yeah, jealousy is it's a terrible thing. Terrible thing. I'd rather that, That's when you know you're at the top is when people are trying to knock you down.
yeah, exactly. When people start watching, I remember this comment too. When people start watching your preseason games, just to get an eye, just to try to get a little sight line on what we're working with.
No, they're watching that so they can find a clip of like Wirtz missing an easy chance or Ekitike miscontrolling the ball and going 86 million for this.
Right.
That's what they're looking for.
Yeah. Sheba asked the question: Do you think we still lack grit in our midfield, and could we still be bullied? Mac 10, Wirtz, and Grab are not very physical. I don't agree with the Mac 10. I don't agree with the Macca point. Macca is very physical. He's often, he does not mind getting involved in any types of like physicality in the midfield. Wirtz, I'd have to wait and see. I don't think we did see how he responded to Bruno trying to give him a little bit of the that was in Germany versus Portugal. But I don't know. I don't think Wirtz is one to back down. Grab is just smooth like that. Grab doesn't necessarily get into too many like physical. I think he's so smooth that he doesn't have to worry about being bullied. And if he's smart, then just allow for the referee to sort it out. Do you have a different opinion, Brian, on that?
No, not at all. Not at all. Absolutely.
Hi, Laura. Yamal is, I believe, still 17 going on 18, I want to say.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's just mental.
Yeah, pick up Pops, by the way. Pick up Pops. Yeah, we know the game. He got 2 tweets back from me, and he got a follow. So he knows how to do it. He knows he's smart. He's definitely smart. He's all about the clickbait. But shout out to Pops, by the way. Shout out to Andy. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Are you bullish on this one, Brian, for our center half question? His name has definitely came back into the cycle of conversation simply because now we do have a center half. A lot of people are clamoring for us to get a center half. And now this name has started to pick up a little bit more steam and be reinserted into the conversation. Do you think that there's a chance that does that name move you, or have you kind of lost?
Seems very 2 years ago to me.
Yeah, I agree with that
one. Maybe but the problem is, as I say, nature abhors a vacuum. Everyone knows we need 2 center halves, and there's no news about us buying center halves. So people are just gonna start throwing out center half names because it's weird. It's weird. It's strange. I think the people know what's going on behind the scenes, know what they're doing, but the fact that we haven't brought in one is genuinely baffling for a lot of people because the need is obvious. The need is genuinely obvious. It's right there that we've sold Kwanzaa. We need to replace him, and we probably needed one before that anyway. So just, I know Arnie, I don't think Arnie did a good job with the whole Grav can play. I think maybe he was trying to be somewhat a bit lighthearted, a bit maybe sarcastic, maybe. But I think
meaning Grav to play center half.
yeah, saying we're cool at centre half because we've got Grav and Endo, and people are like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. I think
Yeah,
there was a
yeah.
universal no
Mm-hmm.
when he said that. And then he kind of tried to, well, we haven't replaced Kwanzaa yet. He knows, I don't. The people behind the scenes are like, yeah, I think he was trying to play it down. You see, but Pops, I think it was one. He's been really good in press conferences, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think he meant that.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thinks he believes Grav can play centre half next season. He doesn't believe that. He doesn't believe we're cool. But like, yeah, people were kind of thinking he didn't kind of do it in a kind of a jokey enough way that you can't insult the player, but also for people to realize that you're not being completely serious. Yeah, he genuinely doesn't think we can do that. We're not that dumb. There's no
Real,
chance.
real quick too. Big up Redbird. Big up Redbird. Um, First segment of the show was about what would be your rating for this window so far. Um, without Isak, without a Guéhi, what's your rating for this summer window? 1 out of 10, or 0 out of 10.
Well,
A lot of people some of the ratings that we've gotten have been all high. Actually, I don't think we got one
yeah, I mean,
under 8. I think 8.5 was like the lowest rating or something like that.
yeah, I mean, it sounds greedy to say anything else, but I mean, if we did have a centre half,
Mm-hmm.
it
Or I
would
think
be
8
a
was the
10.
lowest rating. 8 was the lowest rating. Go ahead.
Yeah, it would be a 10 if we had a centre half, but I'm also expecting us to do that. So I think it will be a 10 out of 10 window. But I suppose right about now, having sold um,
Kwanzaa. Yeah.
Kwanzaa and Gomez doing Gomez stuff,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, the need is obvious. So it can't really be a 10 until they do that. But I'd expect them to do it. So like right now, it's like a 9.8.
Okay.
But yeah,
Ooh,
that
wow.
center
Okay.
half just
Okay.
makes it a 10,
Because you know that those extra,
because I think that's going to
yeah,
happen. Yeah,
they're going to
but
happen. I got you.
we're
Like they're
not
in the
we're
works. If we're talking about the fact that they're not like
yeah.
actively working on those next steps, then yeah, it'd be a different story. Okay. Okay. And to answer Dara, here it is. I agree with you I agree with you, Brian, in the
Oh,
sense of sometimes, when we get into, what are we going to play? What formation are we going to run out onto the pitch in? We might start off as a 4-2-3-1, or we might start off as a 4-2-4 or 4-4-2 or 4-3-3. There's various forms or variations that we can go out. And I know that primarily whenever we saw the lineups, you would see a 4-2-3-1. However, it didn't mean that we stayed in a 4-2-3-1 throughout the game. So if I say a 4-4-2, the reason why I've said that is because Arne Slot has said that, Dara. Arne Slot has come out and said that we play a 4-3-3, we play a 4-2-4, we play a 4-4-2, we play a 4-2-3-1. So if you don't think Arne Slot's going to play a 4-4-2, bring it up with Arnie, not with me. Okay. I also wanted to say I spoke on how that Arsenal fan obviously was a little rattled from us getting these players in, but what really says we're doing something right? When rival fans start throwing tantrums and start throwing out fake financial accusations on social media. Here's the truth, realistically. We potentially had our best ever transfer window, and we're not even done. That's what's crazy about this window. We're not even done, really. I don't think we are done. And we've had so much crazy turnover on our team. And our net spend, I get it, before Terry from the football terrorist goes at me for saying net spend, because he's all about always putting out there's no such thing as net spend. And look, it's easy. It's just an easy term out there to kind of realistically wrap your brain around what it is. net spend necessarily doesn't exist, considering he's saying because of you got to factor in the salaries, you got to factor in all these different little things, the wages and everything else gets involved in it, and as well, maybe even dealing with the agent fees and such, and yada yada yada. But realistically, a very simplistic way of looking at it: net spend. How much are you spending? How much are you selling? It's that simple. Those are very simple ways of wrapping your head around what it is. Right. This is our outgoing versus our incoming on players, basically. And what is pretty wild about it, I don't have a, oh, you know what? I do have a graph for it. What is pretty wild about this is our net spend is still lower than City's net spend. Our net spend, our incoming versus our outgoing, is still lower than Arsenal's. We've spent a lot of money. I get that. But our incoming versus our outgoing still have us being less in this window or in this year's transfer list as being less than City's. I'm going to bring up this graph real quick for you. So, whoops, I didn't do it like that, but here is the graph. This is the 2025 net spend. Again, don't hold at me about saying net spends. This is our 2025 incoming versus outgoing expenditures. Okay. And look at that number. That's pretty impressive. 282 million so far. That's what Manchester City has spent in 2025. 196 million is what Arsenal has spent at the moment. And 136 million is what we've spent. You might say, oh, well, didn't we just spend 116 million on Wirtz? Yes. But we've also just sold 65 million or 65, 75, whatever the number was, for over 60 million for Diaz, for instance. What did we get? 40 million, I think, for Kwanzaa, right? Do you know the number? I think it's about 40, right?
35.
35, yeah. That's 2025. So that includes January and the summer. So yeah, that's what the numbers are looking like as of right now. If you put that into perspective, when you put that into perspective, does that add to the fact doesn't that add to like the fact that this is a very good, like, as in, we're not only spending, we're also selling, but also keeping our books well balanced to an extent. If I mean, like, the sheer fact that 282 million pounds is what Manchester City has spent, and they still have some could say they still have some situations with their team, some could say that.
Yeah, we're this is, I suppose it's difficult for a lot of people to kind of get their heads around a lot of layers to this, a lot of kind of this just proves me right. We could have done this before, or why didn't we spend this money years ago? All that kind of stuff that's been coming up, which is kind of childish, I think, to suggest that just because we can do this now means we could have done it 4 years ago. That's really not how it works.
That's not how it works.
We weren't hiding it. We've timed this to get to a position like now where, yeah, we kind of, in the most basic terms, we had to save up.
Yeah.
And we saved up. We didn't go on holiday for 2 years while all our friends went on holiday for Christmas and went away in the summer. For 2 years, we didn't go on holiday. We didn't go anywhere. And guess what? Now we're doing the round the world cruise in the gold cabin with the butler service and all that, like, because we saved up.
right.
It isn't really that difficult. And while saving up, we won a league. We went we topped the Champions League thing, the group
Mhm,
of it,
mhm.
um, and got to the quarterfinals. So we won a shitload of money.
That league money, the league phase
So
for Champions League helped us immensely.
yeah, I mean, you add it all up. You save. You don't spend anything for 2 years. You win a shitload. Like it's like you also had that bit. You add it all up, and here we go. And guess what, folks? Guess what? I'm sorry, it's not apology stuff, but FSG have proven once and again, and all this that when we have money, we will spend it. This does not go in their pockets.
Right. Yeah.
None of
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is going in their pockets.
The
They'll
system,
make
the
their money on
Glazers,
exit.
yeah, using it as a piggy bank. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not ripping. They're not. Oh, by the way, I'm just gonna take my little bit. No, no, it goes right back in, and
Yeah.
that's why we can do this now.
Yeah.
So just
This right here shows a lot what Pops is saying. And echoes what you're
yeah,
just saying too. The group phase, we won close to 100 million. It was, I think, like 86 million or something like that. But we were close to 100 million plus, by winning and going on to the other rounds. We got money as well. And then you get extra money. You get bonuses for placing in the top group. You get bonuses for every win that you get. And yeah, we got close to 100 million.
yeah,
Then you
we
get
only lost one game.
right. We get Premier League. You get it close to like somewhere around 100 million for winning the Premier League, and then you add on the new. It hasn't hit yet in our coffers technically because that's why we're still wearing Nike kits. But Adidas money is going to hit too eventually, in those coffers. So August 1st, yeah, August 1st is when
Yeah,
it hits.
first of all, that's why they
So
haven't changed the numbers yet. That's why they're wearing those weird numbers.
yeah, yeah,
They
because they
want to
have
wait until the Adidas comes, then they'll come out in their new official
right,
numbers. They're all wearing 57 and 22 and all that stuff
right,
now.
yep, yep, and that is something right there in the sense of what it is because um, you have to really take a lot of that into account as to those are the reasons why we can now flex the financial muscle a little bit, and go for some big names and not really balk at the prices that some of the market is dictating. And again, what's funny about too, because I mean, like I spoke about the Arsenal fan that thought his team should be the outright favorites. This is what one of it's not necessarily bookies, but this is one of the resources I use, and this is what we have for right now to look at. The 2025-2026 season, favorites to win, 33% have us winning the league, 29% has Arsenal, 23% City, 10% Chelsea. Now, I saw this and I was like, there are some Manchester United fans out there just trolling because there's no way. I don't know how many people actually voted in this survey, but 2% said 2% have Manchester United winning the Premier League. I don't know about you, Brian, but that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild to see. I don't know if I don't think Manchester United they have 2% chance of like not getting relegated, more likely. Now they'll do better than they did last year, I think, but it was just funny to see that. It was pretty funny. 2% said that. Um,
Sorry, my stuff is just freezing up there for a second. Yeah.
no worries, no worries.
Yeah, look,
Did you get a chance to
he's
see
got to
the
get a couple of minutes.
rankings or the percentages? Did you see the percentages? I can
Yeah,
bring
it's
it back.
quite low for Man United. If it's a fan poll,
I think it is a fan poll. I don't think this isn't like some
yeah, that's
DraftKings
pretty low. For a
bookies.
fan poll, that's pretty
Yeah.
low. I mean, it's always us and Arsenal that win fan polls on Twitter. Like, we're famous for it. Like,
Yeah,
Arsenal
stack.
are the
Yeah.
most famous for it. Like, they win every poll on Twitter because they're Arsenal fans. It's a bit low, though. I mean, that just shows you. I mean, 4 years ago, just because they're Man United, they probably would have been third or something.
Right.
2%. Even the delusional fan bases, that's as far as they're getting. That's instructive. It shows you how far the mighty have fallen.
It does. It does. It does.
See above them and everything. That is sad.
I'll show you another funny, or not, an interesting thing too. This is something that the Premier League. Now, this is the Premier League putting this question out. Obviously, some players have left their respective teams, so some of the names you might have to omit from the list. But this was an interesting thing. They asked this question right here. I'd love to hear the chat. We got a nice little group of people in the chat now. They asked this question on the Premier League website. They asked, which club has the best forward line? Obviously, this was before Lucho got his transfer, so he's still included in our front line on this one. Obviously, you can see Chiesa is still part of the team. So, but what would you say? What would you? I'll make it bigger in case people can't see it. In case you can't see that either. Do you think they have it in order? Do you think this is in possibly the right order? This isn't in any order, I don't think. This is just them listing the actual.
No, that's not in order. No, they're just yeah. They're not suggesting it's like 1 to 4 or anything.
No, this is just showing you the groups that they have. They add the option of you answering someone else has the best forward line. Red glasses, take the red glasses off. I'll take my own red glasses off as well on this one. If you had to rank these, where would you rank them?
Well, Crab is saying City. That's Haaland, Marmoush, Foden, Savio, Sharkey, Doku, and Grealish, I assume.
Yep. Marmoush, Foden, Savinho, Cherky, Doku, and Grealish.
Yeah. Chelsea, that's
Palmer,
Pedro, yeah, Neto,
Pedro Neto, yep,
Jackson,
Gittins,
and
Cuckoo, and Sterling.
Yeah.
For Arsenal, it's Saka, Gyökeres, Havertz, Trossard, Martinelli, Nonawari, Madueke, and Jesus. And our lineup obviously is, we all know our lineup. Minus Lucho would be our lineup.
In terms of what I think is going to be there at the start of the season, I think I'm half. I don't expect Darwin or Chiesa to be part of ours.
But just going by this currently.
Yeah, just right now with this one, okay.
And then you have to obviously just omit Lucho from this list since he's already gone.
Yeah, with Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo, Ekitike. That's a tough one. I think probably. I don't know, actually. That's a tough one.
The tough one, right? I mean, all four of these teams have some great front lines.
Because it's really hard to tell my brain to stop thinking about Grealish won't be there, and Sterling won't be there, and Nkunku won't be there, and Chiesa won't be there. Probably, maybe even Trossard might not be at Arsenal.
Yeah, maybe. You're right about that.
The City one seems the most stable. I don't think any of them that are on that one, other than Grealish will leave. Doku will stay. Sharkey will stay. Obviously, Savio. Foden,
Mhm.
Marmoush, Haaland. Yeah. So right now, probably that one. Probably that
You think
one.
City? Okay. Okay.
Just because but our front for like Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo, and Ekitike, who are
Hmm.
the ones I think are guaranteed to definitely still be here.
Hmm.
That's as good as their Haaland, Marmoush, Sharky, and Foden 4, I think. So yeah. Yeah. I think when the
Interesting. I
season
thought it was interesting.
but when
Uh,
the season starts, I think once you add in Isak, if we do to that front
yeah,
line, then
yeah.
that
It becomes a
totally
different.
changes
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Totally
It definitely
changes
changes
everything.
a lot. Changes a lot on there because then you're looking at it from a perspective of, okay, yeah, you're taking, possibly the best right wing. I think the best right wing in the league. You're taking possibly one of the, if you could argue, the best center forward in the league. There's those that will say it's Holland, but Isak is right up there with him. And then, and then you're also saying, I still think, even without Diaz as our left wing, I still think Cody Hakpo is a better left wing option than the other options on the other teams.
Yeah, and they've left Rio out as well.
Yeah, they left Rio out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can understand. I can understand them doing that because, yeah,
But if you imagine the way I'm just looking at that, in a perfect world, we would be, well, I suppose you're kind of replacing, yeah, the way in my perfect world, right?
hmm
Uh, if our
I have
plans
the
go the
lineup
way we
still
want
for
to
them.
go,
Hmm.
yeah, I think we remove Diaz, Chiesa, and Darwin, and
Hmm.
put in Rio, Fafana, and Isak. What a
Hmm.
lineup that'd be.
It's a good
Like
lineup.
TK, Salavar, Skakko.
It's
So
a good
Rio can
lineup.
come in for either
It's
Diaz or Chiesa if Fafana comes in, and then an Isak.
mhm.
Then we're set for the next 5 years, as far as I'm concerned. If you get those boys, they're all the perfect ages. Great
I,
renewal, brilliant
I'll
top.
say something people probably wouldn't think I would say. It's a good lineup. Unfortunately, their lineup has a little bit more Premier League proven players. Obviously, we're by bringing in Rio, we're bringing in a player that is young, and then
Yeah,
we're
he's the
bringing in a
wild card.
player Fofana who would have to adjust to the Premier League. Hopefully, he hits the ground running. And then who's the third player you said in that?
Isak.
And then Isak is proven, so that would definitely be a key factor. But
Isak and Wirtz is kind of, it's like
yeah,
beyond top tier. Like it's like buying
yeah,
up
yeah.
the, that is real high level
I
stuff
thought the
with
list was
Salah in behind.
yeah. I thought that the list made people would have made people like really look at it. I can show you what um, this is what Arsenal are going to be looking at next year. Let me bring this up as well. Or you want to see Arsenal first? Or you want to see City first? Look at let's bring City in first. City in first because that's the team I think that we'll have to contend with. Um, all right. Um, whoops. So this is the potential. I'll star your. Whoops. I'm going to star your question to come back to it in 1 second. This is the potential team that Manchester United could see starting for them. It is very interesting. They already slotted in Trafford. I don't know if that deal's been completed or not just yet. I know it's in the process of them having the option to buy him back, and they're just trying to negotiate. At the time I saw, they were trying to negotiate a lower price for him, but they already have him slotted in as being, or at least this projection has him being slotted in as the primary choice. I heard Ederson isn't a guaranteed departure. He might stay on as a keeper for them. It'd be interesting if he does, because there's apparently no guarantee that he's going to start. But you can see how Vardiol moves from left back into maybe the center half role, a role that he was playing with RB. You have Diaz, you have Nunez on the right, then you have Reinders, who's going to be a good player, I think. I think he's definitely he's a talented player. And then you had Rodri next to him, Foden on the right, Cherki in the middle, Marmoush on the left, and then Holland at the lone striker role. Is this this team is definitely balanced. I'll give them that. Do you see any weaknesses in this team?
I wouldn't pick that team. I would have Sharky on the left, Marmoush through the middle,
Okay.
and Savio off the right. And then you'd have Sharky and Foden. Foden again, we don't know what he's going to do with him. So
so wait, who are you sitting then? Who are you sitting? Because I heard you bringing another player that's not represented on there. So who are you sitting?
Foden. Yeah, I think I'd even drop Foden. Like I think Savio on the right, Cherki on the left, Marmoush in the middle.
Okay.
Because Foden is better through the middle, so Foden has to fight back to get his place back. So
wow.
Yeah.
What is I'm trying to think how the acronym for the award, but basically the Premier League best player of the year in the Premier League, not last year but the year before, has to fight for his role back in the starting squad.
He was dropped last season. He was basically dropped. Yeah, he missed. Like that's the thing we were talking about earlier on my show. He was Premier League Player of the Season, and then last year spent most of it on the bench. Well, not spent most of it, but he was dropped. So it's Pep. It's Pep. I'm just trying to predict what he'll. Who knows? But I think Savio was a big shout. So with Sharky and Marmoush being in, I think Foden has a bit of a fight on. Really, Reinders and Rodri. Yeah, Bernardo Silva might get some minutes. Nunes. I don't know. Yeah,
So they've got a unique squad. He's got some choices to make now that they've been obviously spent heavily in the winter transfer window, and then they haven't really gone full board in the summer transfer just yet. But they might have one or two chambers to fire off to get some players that maybe they need. Obviously, they're still working on. I believe they're still working on Trafford. I don't believe he's already a done deal or not. How about this then?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure that this isn't the same question. Make sure. Anfield Roar, I have both of your questions starred. We will answer both your questions. If you have a question in the chat, just put it. Put your question in, and I'll star them. And as soon as we get through this, I'll bring them up. I starred both your questions, though, Anfield Roar. This is the Arsenal team, and the difference in this one is that this is one of those lineup 11 ones where you can put in who would possibly be the backup for the actual player. Does this team I'm not going to say scares you because if you're scared, get a dog, and I know you already have a dog, so you're not scared. Coco will save you always, but realistically, like all seriousness, do you think that this team is a formidable team? Do you think this is a formidable team?
Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, one second.
Yeah. You tell me in the chat. Do you think this is a formidable team to be? Do you think that some of the Arsenal pundits out there and content creators that believe that now that they have their version of Bane, that this now creates, and they have does this really create the difference? Is this really the difference maker? I would love to see if you think so. I'd love to see that. And I think this is the reason why this has Eze in there is that's I think this might have been Igal's like version of what he thinks is going to be the Arsenal starting lineup. But that's with Eze. Eze is not technically quote unquote. I don't believe. I know that there are reports out there that Eze is still needs to be finalized. He's not officially joined Arsenal just yet. There are reports that indicate Arsenal has reached an agreement with him on personal terms, but there are reports Arsenal are negotiating a potential transfer fee with Crystal Palace currently, including potentially giving them Reece Nelson in return, because that would help them get this transfer possibly over the line and give Crystal Palace at least something in return as talent. Yeah, MLS. I know. That's a stretch to have him as your starting left back. I agree with you, Pops. I think Calafiori would be more likely of a starting left back for them than MLS would be, to be honest with you. In my opinion, that's what I would see. Heck, I would not sooner see, but I sooner expect them to start maybe even Timber on the left side and have Ben White start on the right. But is this a team that competes with us from start to finish? Is this a team, do you think, that's really going to compete with us? I would take out the Eze thing. This substitute Eze for Martinelli. Calafiori is injured quite a bit. You are right about that. Let's see what else I'm just looking at what you guys are writing in the chat. And Phil Rohr says Arsenal. He's got a view that he thinks they've weakened their lineups. The lineups solidity to basically get in a striker. Arteta is copying Pep, no doubt. It's basically Manchester City 2.0. Interesting perspective. Let's see. The MLS is still a growing league. Oh, no. Oh, that's something else. They should compete. This is what Pop says. They should compete, and they need to keep Saka on the pitch. Absolutely agree with that one. Last year, when Saka went down, that was a massive, massive blow to them. Absolutely agree with that one. Absolutely agree with that. Absolutely. Let's see what else. I think this is a good point too, by the way. I absolutely agree with this point. I don't know if the chat agrees with Red Armchair Supporter. Hey, I do, Red Armchair Supporter. I agree with you. I really do think that that's a massive, massive important point. Because I really think that he say what you will, he had some real, I wouldn't say moments, but he was crucial to them. He was definitely crucial to them to be able to give them some type of I don't know if I would have played him at the spot that he was getting played in, but because I know that Arteta kept playing him at the fullback position rather than play him in the at the DM position. But I think that is a big loss. Pop sticks the same. They pretend that it isn't. I know. They'll pretend like he was expendable, like they didn't need him, And I think they let him go for a free, I want to say. I think they just didn't renew his contract. That's big. Very big. Just trying to touch this up a little bit for all of us. What else does the chat say? Bring up something. I'm going to take this down, and I will bring up Anfield Roar's 2 questions, knock that out, and then move on to this next segment here. Let me knock out that. He did have some legal issues. I know that. You're right about that. He has some legal issues. I don't know if he's worked them out or if he's still going through them. But yeah. George Porter, I saw there. Zubimendi's not strong like Partey. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Let me knock out these 2 questions from Anfield Roar. So the question for the panel was, what and how does Dom fit into the first 11 in a slot lineup? And do you think and expect a formation change? And I actually did answer that slightly before this, but I'll reiterate what I said earlier, and I'm going to reemphasize it. I agree with what Brian said about the formation is going to be one of fluid formation. I believe that I don't know if I properly coined the term or not, but the term I used was 2, 3, 4 years ago. It was right around during the 7-Up game when I came up with this little coinage, and that was an amoeba formation. And what I mean by amoeba formation is that it shows a sense of fluidity, and it adjusts and adapts, to whatever is necessary for us to move forward. And what I mean by that is we might, on paper, come out in a 4-2-3-1, but during the game, much like in Klopp's system as well, but is similar to Slot's system, when we go out there, you might see us with four in the front line, or maybe you might see us with a box midfield, or you might see us with, obviously the wings pushing up to create another form of formation variation. So that's what I believe. Our formation is going to be an amoeba formation. And I also think that realistically, Dom is going to be a part of that formation one way or another, as a starter as well. Where does he fit? That's a big question. I wouldn't mind seeing him in the pivot, to be honest with you, so that we can see Maka move forward more and utilize Maka in a forward role, a more offensive forward role for him, and maybe not putting a lot of the dirty work into his hands, as we often do. But I could still also see Dom staying with that 10 role and then having Wirtz push to the left and play off center to him. That's my answer to your question. I think Brian's still doing something in the background. So
no, I'm here.
You have like a little bit of oh, it went away. And then his other question was a question for the panel. With limited interest in Darwin, are you miffed that a player like João Felix can be sold to Saudi for £45 million? Is the club correct in awaiting a good bid for Darwin? I think that they're smart in waiting for a good bid. I don't see why everyone else. Chelsea is a different animal in all itself. In that Chelsea have so many players that are expendable on their list that they can go for whatever price they deem as being a good enough price to get. For our cases with the players that we have, whether it be Chiesa, whether it be Darwin, just similar to what we have with Diaz. Rather, considering that the market is creating high yields for these players, why would you settle for a low offer? Why would you settle for a low bid? And I think that, especially with certain players like a Nunez, or even how we could sit and wait on a Diaz, is because they're signed to contracts that allow for us to have some flexibility. The one player I am concerned about is Ibu. Ibu in his last year of his deal, it's a different story. Our flexibility, our versatility in what we can do with his contract, completely different. He knows that he can utilize that for the negotiations for a better contract for himself. And if not, he can utilize it as an opportunity to go on to Real Madrid or go on to PSG and utilize the fact that he's going for a free and get a larger signing bonus so he can get more money up front in that signing bonus, and then get a comparable price or comparable wage increase that is what his preference is. And it might not be the whatever number he's asking for, if it's 250, 280, 300, whatever he's asking for from us. It might not be that high of an extent of a price. But what you will see is that, yeah, if he's all of a sudden going from a $2 million signing bonus with us to a $12 million signing bonus with Real Madrid, because they don't have to pay 30, 40, 50 million or whatever the number might be to purchase him, it works out. They would have had to spend that money anyway, and that's a discount in their sense. So yeah, it works out for them to have to just say, okay, yeah, we'll take a little bit of a haircut on that signing bonus, but still we're making out in the sense that we're not purchasing you or getting a transfer for you for an enormous price. And it works out that way. So I'm not miffed about the Darwin thing and us holding tight for a striker, especially for what some of these strikers are going for. I'm not too concerned. But maybe Brian has a different opinion on that one.
Oh yeah, you went a bit off piece there. Canada, yeah, just purely from the Darwin one. Yeah, are we? No, I mean, is the club correct in awaiting a good bid? Of course they are. You know, Felix went to Saudi because he went to Saudi for 45. You know, Darwin could have gone to Saudi Arabia the week the window opened, probably. But he's decided, and fair play to him, that he wants to continue in Europe. So I think if Darwin said, yeah, okay, I'll go to Saudi, so we could sell him in probably about 5 minutes. I just think he's standing firm, and he doesn't want to go there. He wants to stay in. Fair play to him. So I don't think we're kind of awaiting a good bid. We probably priced him out a bit too much for Napoli, but I think, yeah, I would say, like, I thought with Diaz, it was possible to get every penny. I thought, like, we set a price for 70. I thought we'll get that from Bayern because we know exactly what they need and what they want and how much money they have, blah, blah, blah. We'll get, there's no need to back down price-wise. Just wait a while and you'll get it. With Darwin, we probably might need to be a little bit more flexible in terms of what we have to take, if it means him getting to stay in Europe. Because Juve aren't coming in and giving us, 60 million euros for him. Juve are apparently maybe looking at him if they can sign Colomwani. I mean, what does that sound like?
But I think, though, what you could see, I know that Heiler thinks it's 0%, but you could see us keeping possibly Darwin and moving on from him in the January market as well, because there's a
world, man. There's a world. There's a world where he stays. There's a world where Isak stays at Newcastle. There's a world where Darwin is, and they're not mad worlds. Very easily.
Yeah,
that's why I think said, he can go in January, but.
Well, I'm just saying that he could possibly, like, you look at it, yeah, if people aren't ready to budge, okay, great. But then come January, when you're a team that is trying to contend with whatever league that you're in, and you're trying to get and your need is for a striker, maybe you do say, okay, I'm going to bite the bullet and really try to bring in a striker to kind of get us
Things
over the
change in
hump.
January.
Huh?
Things change in January a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So things can change quickly. You never know. Let's move into this next segment, Bri. I won't keep you much longer, probably not like 20, 30 minutes. What I was going to say is, for this next segment at least, this next segment is possible Liverpool moves, and also maybe even possible Liverpool moves. Let's just call it that, because I'd say buckle up, people. The rumor mill isn't slowing down. Obviously, you've seen a lot of the thumbnails and the clickbait, and you've seen Fabrizio basically tweet out the same tweet 3-4 times in a row or something about Isak, coming to Liverpool. I'll start off with Rodrygo, and whether if it's even feasibly something that's going to be incoming. Apparently, Rodrygo is still very much admired by our club. The Diaz sale opens that possibility. Obviously, we have some money to make that happen. I know that the price tag is being reported to be lowered from the 85 million initially. I mean, it was at 100 million at one point, but lowered from the 85 million initially to now a 65 million evaluation for Rodrygo. Real Madrid believe meaning Liverpool, could make a formal approach soon. He's versatile. He's proven in the higher stages, meaning like Champions League and the likes, and already has like I said, a Champions League pedigree. Should be an interesting move. Should be a very interesting move. Then you move to the left side, which has got Chiesa. I know Chiesa hasn't joined the team on the Asian preseason. So Federico Chiesa, despite his quality, reportedly still wants to move away. Serie A is calling again, but what kind of offer will it take for Liverpool to cut ties after such a short stint? I'd like to know what you feel. You can put it in the chat room through all these. I have a couple more to talk about. You can put it circle back and try and include that. What's the number that you pay for Rodrygo? Tell us what you think is your selling point for Chiesa, especially considering we only spent something like 12, 14 million or something like that for him. I think we could easily see ourselves getting 25 million back for Chiesa. Isak's injury. There was something that was put out there about Isak having an injury. Then it was said that he didn't have an injury. It was Eddie Howe trying to cover for him. Then it was said, then Eddie Howe said the reason why he kept him out of the lineup was because of all the rumors, swirlings, and everything else, and the likes. Then you have Kieran Trippier, that came out and says that he is in contact with Alex, and being that they're friends and the likes, and he says that it is a thigh injury that he has right now. He's saying he also notes that Alex Isak isn't flying with the team. He says, that there is reasons. The reasons why he's not is because of the injuries. That's what at least he's saying at this juncture. The plot thickens, obviously, because we've heard that it wasn't an injury, and then some people saying it is, and yada yada yada. Is this an injury or something bigger? Is what it ends up, boiling down to. Either way, if there's movement, expect Liverpool to be watching very closely to what happens. Apparently, we're on the verge of making a realistic bid for the player, and that would be very cool to see, obviously. Last but not least, center back search, something I'm emphasizing, something I'm starting to see a lot more, not only pundits on the smaller networks, but even the bigger networks. I've seen a lot of the content creators start to really ramp up this, despite the fact that, Isak and all those kind of talks normally get the clicks. But we've already been linked with Mark Guéhi. But there's also talk. This is a slight rumor. I don't know how Brian feels about this. I don't know how you feel about this in the chat, if there's any real probability of it. However, there has been some talk of Liverpool going back in for Levi Colwill from Chelsea. Apparently, his situation I know that I believe he might have just re-signed contract. I'm not positive. I'd have to look that up again. I'll look it up right now as we speak. But apparently, Colwill is about his playing time, and he's not happy about his playing time, and he would be relatively interested in making a move to Liverpool. Pops is dropping the nose already on that one. That's not even let me finish. All right. There's no deal yet. Obviously, the Reds are still actively searching for someone to be an addition to our center half core. The center back signing will come, or will be somewhat of something of an emphasis. It's a matter of time. You're right. He might have 8 years left on his contract or something stupid like that. But let me see. Let me see what his contract is looking like. But yeah. He's signed to, he's got 3 years left on his contract. 3 years left on his contract. But would you be interested in Colwill, Brian? If you're there? I'm not sure if you're there or not. No? Yes? Colwill signed a 6-year contract extension, but he is it is 3 years left on that contract right now. So it was a name that's interesting. I'd rather see us get Guéhi than Colwill, to be honest with you. Maybe you have a different name out there that you're interested in. These death row contracts that they give out at Chelsea are incredible. It makes going to Chelsea and trying to get a player from Chelsea extremely difficult. That much I will attest. And what the English tax would be on that, I have no idea. I don't know what they would be looking back for. Pretty interesting. I think Brian is still indisposed right now, so I'll even say, would you rather? I think it's going to be a consensus: Guéhi versus Colwill. Who would you rather have? I think the consensus is probably going to be Guéhi in the group, in the chat. I know myself, I prefer Mark Guéhi over Colwill as well. Is there another alternative out there? That's the question. That's a big question. He didn't play much last season, by the way. I can look up his actual numbers, but he did not play much last year. He did not play well, or play much. Tamori is what Kevin's saying. Okay. Guéhi. There's a reason why Guéhi is on the England team ahead of Caldwell. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point for an armchair supporter. Let's see. Got cooked by Rio. That's what I'm laughing at. All right, just looking. Brian, I think Brian's taking a little bit of a break. What? Lakeba or Lakeba. I think it's pronounced Lakeba. I know the Leone is a name out there that was mentioned. How about Charlie Cresswell? Is that a name that moves anyone when it comes to center halves? I don't know. It's a question. It's a real question because Kwanzaa then being not out, Kwanzaa moving on, Joe Gomez, the fragility of Joe Gomez as being someone we can count on, the contract negotiations with Konate being this or that. It's very difficult, very difficult. So, very difficult. All right, Nalante has just joined us. Big up, Nalante. How are you?
Yeah, big up 12th, man. Big up yourselves. Irishman as always. And yeah, big up the chat, man. Big up.
Shout out. I was just putting in there, I was just about to move on to the next segment, but I'll ask you this question before we do. Levi Colwell. Does that move you if we were to go for him? If we were to he's got about 3 years left on his contract, but it is a name that's being levied out there as a possible addition for our center half.
No, and hell no.
Okay, you're with Pops on that one. I got you.
Yeah, he signed the contract anyway. He's got on. No. That's it. Move on.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Very interesting. I say interesting because we got to find some type of answer for our center half. And I know that we were very keen on his talents. And that's not saying that even if we were to get Colwell, hypothetically, doesn't mean that we can't still go for Guéhi. Have 2 English nationals on our team when it comes to the center half position. Who knows? All right. Well, I'm going to move on then to the sheer fact of let's see this. Let's sprinkle a little good news to the chat. Yeah, there was that's the reason why I brought up Red Armchair Supporter was there was a report that we might go in for Colwell, considering that we'd already gone in for him before, that we possibly might go in for him again.
No, I doubt that, to be honest. I think that's just propaganda, fake news. I think we passed him. We're on to better things, in my opinion, anyway.
Okay. I'll sprinkle a little good news, and this is the good vibes right here. So some good vibes for all our Reds out there. Mac Allister is back. The Mac attack is back. There's a shout for it. Yeah, there is another player. That is a shout. Let me get into that. I thought I put that in here. I guess. No, it's later down. I'm going to bring that up, Pops, in 1 second. But the good news is that the Mac attack is back. He's back in full training. That's according to Lewis Steele with the scoop. There's a massive boost. That's a massive boost as we approach preseason friendlies in the Community Shield, and obviously the return to our team playing in this new upcoming campaign. How big is it that Mac Allister is going to be back with us? How big do you think it is, Nolante? How big would it be for you? I think it's massive.
Big.
I think it's a massive. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, 100%. 100% 12. And obviously the fact of now we've seen, I don't know if you saw the marker or AS, the Spanish national report paper. Dave, obviously he's one of the midfielders that Real Madrid have got their eyes on, which is no surprise. We knew that was coming. We knew that was coming. So yeah, it's big, man. And yeah, like I said, we'll move accordingly and how he fits into the team. I mean, how we adapt with the new system changes. So yeah, be good.
Okay. Yeah, there you go, Kevin. I just think he makes such a major difference for our team. He's the maestro. He ties everything together for us, and he's obviously a serious threat, whether it's offensively or even defensively. He's good. Albeit, I wish he had more pace, obviously, but he's as close to the perfect article as we get when it comes to midfielders. Let me bring up this one too. Okay, let me bring up this one. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was apparently Morgan Gibbs-White, this is Premier League news roundup pretty much. Morgan Gibbs-White had 1 foot out the door and a medical lined up at Spurs, and then Nottingham Forest dropped the legal hammer and extended his contract until 2028. Talk about drama. You got to bring in Nottingham Forest. It's, it seems like Wolfie is with the right club when it comes to drama. Maybe that's why that's why a lot of times people put him as that character, or as that character for the panels, meaning the pantomime, villain of all the discussions. What is going on with Morgan Gibbs-White and Nottingham Forest? What happened there? What is up with Spurs? Does that say more about Spurs, or does that say more about Forest that they couldn't get that one done, Nolante?
So that's a good one. That was a kind of funny legal action. Now he signed a new contract, so it's kind of boy Spurs. It's not great, is it?
Yeah.
Still approach and then the chairman says no, and the player doesn't really want to go.
Yeah.
Signs a new contract.
Yeah. And it goes to tell you, like that, and Nottingham Forest's owner is just a wild card when it comes to, the ways that he goes about conducting his business,
Yeah.
And did exactly what Kevin's asking. Was this all a ruse just to get a bigger and better contract from Forest? Because obviously we spoke on this too when we were talking about the midfields and who has, you remember when I was ranking the top 10 midfields in the league, and I had Forest in my top 10 midfield, but it was because of Morgan Gibbs-White being a component of it. Without Morgan Gibbs-White, that scenario changes completely. Forest drops out of that top 10, at least my opinion, if that happens. What's your feelings? Do you think that what happened here though? What's your feelings about that? What's your feelings about is he that much of a difference maker?
Yeah. So it's a bit of a marvel, isn't it? Because obviously Spurs have got Kudus, who are as you know, I think it's 12. It'll be a good signing for them. Obviously Champions League football, and obviously Gibbs-White. Again, I'm not too sure. I don't know how we fit in. They've got quite a few attacking players. I don't know how we fit in. You know, Madison's still there. Kudus gets. It'll be interesting how he would have potentially fit in, but obviously Thomas Paul would have been. And obviously the first owner, who's a bit of a madman.
You're a little bit. Your
Yeah.
mic's a little bit muffled, but go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just saying the Forest owner, who's a bit of a madman. Yeah, he just put the illegal block in it, and Curry, and then obviously Spurs was still interested, and obviously Gibbs-White wasn't too bothered because he signed a new contract.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be a bit of play of money. Yeah, it could be.
Okay. I'm trying to think of what it was. Apparently, Chelsea are pushing for Xavi Simon still. Manchester City are said to have been possibly thinking about João Neves, but I think that's pretty much a done deal. I think João Neves is moving on. And obviously, now with him being moved on to, or Morgan Gibbs-White staying with Forest, Spurs are looking to try to advance talks with Eze from Crystal Palace. I don't know. I know that Arsenal are heavily involved in trying to get that negotiation set and settled as well. Who's the most underrated signing across the league so far this summer outside of Liverpool, in your opinion? Who's the most underrated signing across the league so far this summer? Who would you say, Nalante? And you can tell us in the chat too.
That's a good question. Who's the most underrated signing? Oh, there's still time there. That is a good one. I think Rounders, 34 million is a bit of a snip. I think it'll be a good signing for City.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's one. No, but that's the thing. The lower clubs are not. The lower clubs, mid-tables haven't really done. I feel Petrovic as well to go into Bournemouth is a good signing. From Chelsea, the goalkeeper, he's good. And that's two off the top of my head. And I think, underrated signing, maybe it's hard, isn't it? I think Kudus, you could throw Kudus in there. I think you'll excel at Spurs, if I'm honest. But yeah, those are the three that I think off the top of my head, apart from the usual ones. But yeah.
Say them one more time because your microphone was a little bit muffled. Some of them were hard to hear.
All right. No, I was just saying Kudus. I was saying Petrovic for Bournemouth, and then there's also Reinders for me as well.
Reinders,
actually,
okay. So Kudus, Reinders, and who else?
Keller, as someone said in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. Those four.
Interesting. Okay. I have a fun little segment that I wanted to include here before giving out the shout to before we end the show here. So, Nalante, chat. Considering our beautiful transfer summer window that we're having currently, I'm going to bring us back down to earth a little bit, just to show some humility and why some of these transfer windows, especially this transfer window, is such a pleasant surprise. Okay. I'm going to ask you this. Can you tell me what year and what players this summer transfer photo is taken from? Nalante, can you?
2010. The Roy era. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
Can you name the players? Can you name the three players in this photo?
Oh yeah, Joe Cole, Jankovic, Janovic and Danny Wilson. Yeah.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
you know what? It's funny enough you this season because when we got Joe Cole on the free because he was a good player
Yes, he
for
was a
Chelsea.
free.
I
Yes, he
was
was a free. It
yeah
was a
free.
free.
I was actually a little bit gassed because I know he had the injuries. I actually thought silly me. I thought you know what Joe Cole the free. Oh my god, he would do bits for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, boy, I was wrong. Yeah, I was way
Were
wrong.
we all wrong about that one?
Yeah. Oh god, that hurt. Yeah. I was just like, oh dear. Yeah. Boy.
It's just, I mean, in 2010, I mean, like just like you said, we got Joe Cole, and we're like, oh, maybe we can do something with this. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly, Lady V. Nice guy, but I don't know what he must have. He must have some inside dirt on some of the clubs because he just got appointment after appointment after appointment. You know, I mean, when he got appointed back to Crystal Palace, I was like, what are you doing? What are you? I mean, like, I know who's their coach? The Arsenal. Oh my goodness, I'm going blank on his name for some reason. Crystal Palace. Who was Crystal Palace's coach? He was Arsenal midfielder. He's legendary midfielder too. Can't believe I'm going blank on his name.
Oh, Patrick Vieira, you mean?
Yeah, Patrick Vieira.
Vieira, yeah, Patrick Vieira. Yeah.
Patrick Vieira. And Vieira came on a little bit of a down streak in wins and everything. Yeah, Patty V. There you go, Pops. And then they brought in, they sacked him and brought in good old Roy. And I was like, what are they doing? Like, you could have gotten the same result from Patrick that you got from Roy with that team. It's not like, yeah, it was a weird one. Oh man, but yeah, 2010. Oh wow. There were some other notable signatures that year too, as well. If you do remember some other notable signatures. That was a tough year. Yeah, there were some good players. There were some good players on that team, but
yeah, it wasn't the same. Yeah,
it was not the same.
Yeah, exactly. Kaczewski, Scale was still there. Oh,
yeah, it's not the same as this
Paulson.
one is. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Names makes you want to throw up. Oh.
Yeah, because I mean, like that was I think the only name we did have one name that ended up being an incredible name in 2010, and that was Suarez came to the team. That was something of beauty. 2010, 2011, we got Suarez.
Yeah.
But that was also the year that we got Carroll. We had nine additions that year. Considering that we're on the verge of getting 9 additions this year, that's why I thought it was kind of a little bit of a reflection back to when we were trying to make a real push. We had Jovankovic, as you said earlier, from Milan. Jovankovic from what's the name of that team? Standard Liège, I think, or something like that. Whose team was?
Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't right. It was a Belgian team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we got also Danny Wilson that year from the Rangers. We got Christian Poulsen. Well into into the twilight of his career from Juventus. He was like 30-something years old or something like that by the time we got him. We got Joe Cole. We got Brad Jones at keeper. We got Konchesky at left back. I'm trying to think of all the names that I had written down. I said Andy Carroll. Raul Morales we got from Porto. Of all those names, we got John Joe Shelby that year too. We got John Joe Shelby. Oh my goodness. We got what's the dude from we got the wizard from no, that's bad. I don't know if that's too mean. From Harry Potter. But anyway,
Oh dear, he's going there.
that might be too mean. That might be a too mean one. I just remember that it wasn't with Roy, but it was with. I just remember when we were told that John Joe Shelby was going to be the future for us, and I was just like, really, John Joe? Oh man, yeah, that was something. That was something. Anyhow, let me bring that down. We don't want to think too much about that. I did have a little bit of something to say before we bounce out of here. Shout out again to our departing number 7. There was someone giving, I think it was on the internet somewhere, someone was trying to say that with the departure of Lucho, that we might be seeing, we might see Ekitike get the well, Shami. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I guess you're talking about Danny. Well, no, you're not talking about. No, not you're talking about Welsh. Yeah. But we will be seeing the number 7 shirt move on, obviously. And that also means that we will not only see someone don the 7 shirt for a new era in our existence here with Liverpool. It also means that who takes on that number 7 shirt? I don't think it'll be Ekitike. There are people out in this Twitter feed that I was going on or saw that were really pushing to say that Ekitike should be the number 7. I think Wirtz should be the number 7. Personally, Pops agrees with me. Wirtz should be the number 7. I think that's if he's not going to take the number 10, which I'm perfectly fine with Macca having on his back. I would say I think 7 would be an absolute honor to wear it being Wirtz taking on the mantle from obviously King Kenny, who's possibly one of our most illustrious players to have worn that kit number. So I would definitely look for Wirtz to take on the number 7. But all due respect, shout out to Lucho. There was another troll. There was another troll tweet out there. I'm not going to mention who it was by. However,
12, you shit. I think you shit. Rip off the Band-Aid. Don't be worried, 12. Don't be worried.
I did say earlier, not all trolls are from the outside of our club. There are some trolls that are from within. But all the same, there was someone out there that said, when referring to legacy, referring to his career at Liverpool, if you had to rate Lucho's career with Liverpool, what would you have given him as a rating? This individual gave him a 5 out of 10. That's average. I know some people look at it as being average in European terms, I guess. I know sometimes when I do the ratings for us, average for me is a 7. I look at that as being if I was giving out grades, that would be a C grade. If you got an 8, that would be a B grade. If you got a 9, that would be an A grade. Obviously, 60 or 6 would be a D, and a 5 would be an F grade. It would be a failing grade in my book. But I know it's average for some. All the same, I'm not going to go as far as to think that I wouldn't have put Lucho as I wouldn't have put him as a 7, and I wouldn't have put him even at a 5 if you're going to go by the European terms of ranking his legacy with this club. Let me make this GIF a little bit bigger for you because, minus the Community Shield for what it is, yada, yada. There's some big trophies in there. There's important trophies there. It's obviously 2 League Cups. He's got an FA Cup. He's got a Premier League. Some big trophies involved in Lucho's history with this club. And for anyone to say that he wasn't a big part of the reason why we got number 20 last year, you're kidding yourself. Absolutely kidding yourself. So shout out to Lucho. Yeah, I can't see him being average as having. I don't look back at Lucho's legacy and think of it as being an average. I certainly think it's above average legacy here. The injuries were definitely setbacks in his career for us. Yet after every injury that he had, which were major injuries, he had two serious knee injuries, and he battled back and got better after each injury to have one of his best years last year and was relatively injury-free.
Yep.
So for you to say he had a 5 out of 10 for his legacy, that's some clickbait, man, in my opinion. That's some real clickbait. And you're showing your agenda. I know that some could also push back and say I have an agenda because Lucho, I definitely love myself some Lucho. But
yeah, it's not as if that you're going to give him a 10 out of 10.
I wouldn't give him a 10 out of 10. Yeah, I would not give Lucho a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fine. I know. Oh, Joey, what? Keep it real, but 12. Just tell him the name.
I would have given him an 8 out of 10 if I was going to be real.
Okay, that's for you. I mean, yeah. I can see why.
If we could put half marks in there, I'd give him a 7.5, to be honest with you. But I give him.
I agree with that. 7.5. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
7.5 out of 10.
Indication. Yeah,
I think like you look at his career with Liverpool, he came to the team in January. He hit the ground running in January from in that window after the winter window. He hit the ground running. Was absolutely phenomenal. Played exceptional for us, and then obviously played well, but had an injury for us, and that kind of again curtailed his progress. And then he came back from the injury, and he progressed even further. Then unfortunately, he picked up another knock while trying to train in I think it was in Dubai when they were in Dubai, right? Tweaked the injury, and then came back, and then ended up having his best season ever. That is a really good. You can't knock that. You can't knock that. I don't think that's an average. I think that's very average.
No.
And especially for the money, exactly. We bought the player for $35 million. It's not like we paid 67. I mean, like you hear all the rumblings about Nunez and everything else, like because of his price tag. You can't say that us spending $35 million for a player that we ended up selling for almost for double that amount, basically. In that next year, in his final year, or with just 2 years left on his contract, it's not a 5 out of 10. It's not a 5 out of 10.
12. Just tell him the name so we know.
No, I am not. I am not. We are not doing that.
Why?
We are not doing that. We are not causing any rifts within our fan base. If you guys want to check it out, hey, just go keep your eyes open, because you have to in this community. Sometimes you have to keep your eyes open. You can't. It's no. There's no. You can't go through the internet like Bird Box, or I think that's the name, Birdcage or Bird Box. I think it's called that Sandra Bullock movie. Do you ever see that one? You know what I'm talking about? No. She had to wear. You couldn't walk, had to like wear like Birdcage. I think it's called.
Cage. Yeah, Birdcage. I think. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. You had to wear like the blinders. Yeah. Kevin gave him a 7 out of 10. Yeah, see, I could give you that. You know, I just being honest, I give him 7.5 if we can do half marks. I rounded up to 8 if we can't. But maybe that's just again because I got love for Colombia, and I got possibly more love for Colombia than Chris Angel got for Colombia. No. Just kidding, Chris. Just kidding.
Is this the pitch?
And Chris Angel wasn't the one that said it, by the way. He wasn't the one who said that time. That would be blasphemy if Chris Angel gave him a 5 out of 10. We'll see. Hopefully Chris sees this episode. I'll try to like message him in the group chat for Beijing Reds, or maybe Pops can pass it on. You know what my expectations were for Lucho? To be honest with you, my expectations for Lucho were never the expectations that he was going to be a Mane replacement. I always had the expectations of Lucho being someone that could be creative, that would give us that South American flair to our possession. And I also love the fact that something that we ended up learning even more so when we got to see him play. And I think like you saw it more so even from the very beginning of when he started with us, is that his work rate is phenomenal. He puts in a shift. You can't knock him for the amount of heart and soul that he brings to the pitch. And I really enjoyed that portion of being a part of Liverpool, because there's not many people on our team that I could say demonstrate this same amount of, again, flair, creativity. Yeah. I think that Lucho was honestly the most on the ball. He's the most creative player on our team. I thought that, with the ball control that he created and the likes, some weren't too happy with his end results, or his finishing. But I think that beyond that, though, there's a lot of attributes that he did bring to the team that created opportunities for other players, created some semblance of a real continuity within our team. And if you can say this, I don't see how you can say Lucho had a 5 out of 10 when he was one of the most, when he was healthy, he was one of the most one of the players that started the most games, he was one of the most consistent starter selections for our team. How you could be a 5 out of 10, and whether it's with a legendary coach like Jurgen Klopp picking you time after time after time after time again as your starter, whether it's with Arne Slot, who again not only utilized him as a left wing, he thought to be innovative enough to use him as his false 9 and made a real difference for our team. Real difference for our team. When we were lacking some type of semblance at our striker position, who do we turn to? Lucho. So with that said, I think my expectations were met for him. I was not looking for him to be someone that's going to score on the lines of a Mane, because I never looked at him as being an inside forward from the left wing. When he was playing the left wing, I looked at him as just that, a left winger. When that's
what he was.
And then when he showed his versatility, and then to show your versatility, to be able to play on the right side, which he did for us when Salah was hurt, says something immensely. When he was able to obviously transition to that center forward position, That was an immense position change from. And this is a difference. Unlike Sadio Mane, who somewhat transitioned to the 9, maybe out of somewhat of a necessity, but more so because he wasn't producing at the same levels from the left wing for us. But he certainly started producing from the center role for us when he played in the center. We utilized Lucho for that reason. Because it was out of necessity. We were not getting the amount of production that we wanted from whether it was Jota or even Nunez in that role. For Slot's system, and again, for the work rate, for the amount of ball control that you can create from having a player like Lucho in that number 9 role, it made a difference for us. It makes a real difference for us.
Inside, outside. Mm. Yeah.
No,
100%.
But again, shout out Colombia. Viva Colombia. All right. We're gonna have to wrap up here because we are approaching the 2-hour mark. But let's leave on some positive vibes. Positive vibes are apparently this is the kit that we will be having. This is our kit. The kit has been leaked for August 1st. This is like, you can see this is like on an actual player. This is kind of like the, one of those photos that they use for the advertisements type situations. Are you feeling this kit? I didn't think it wasn't very imaginable when it came to it. I'm not really super big on the new age Adidas symbol. I like the old school Adidas symbol for it.
Same.
I would have liked, if you wanted to make it kind of cool, drop the classic, on there, rather than have the 3 stripes as we see on this one. But
yeah.
Real quick, 1 out of 10. What are you giving this?
Meh. It gives me a meh.
Meh.
It gives me a meh. 5 out of 10, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, gives me a meh.
Yeah, I'd give this a 5 out of 10. How about that?
Great, man. Let's make it 12. It's like that. Man.
There you go. I'll give this one a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
So, all right, people. We're gonna push out from here. Nalante, did you want to say anything to the people before we bounce?
Not much. Just big up everyone in the chat. Hope everyone's doing well, man. Like I said,
You're a little more. Say it again. Say it again so people can hear you.
Yeah.
For some reason it was going to
no,
look like
just, oh yeah, no, because I've got my Bluetooth headset on. That's probably, I don't know. That's probably the reason why. So all I was gonna say is just big up everyone in the chat. Enjoy. Cherish your loved ones.
Yes,
cherish
absolutely.
life. Cherish life. Life is precious, man. Try to forgive if you can. I know it's the hardest things to forgive if someone's done you wrong. Or sometimes you can forgive and just move on from a distance, Obviously it's exciting times, What I will say is the Isak thing, I don't think it's happening and I still don't believe it. But we don't, until I see him actually officially on the website, I'm still not going to believe it. Obviously I hope we believe it, but we're there to be great. And we're there to be great. And money's been blown out. Let's get this team to the next level. I'm not saying it's going to be an 80s and 80s dynasty, but let's get this team to the next level. I think all of us fans, we want that back to back. We need that back to back at least.
Yeah, that's got to be the target for this year, back to back.
Yeah. So if it goes up to
do the Drake back to back here, something like that.
Exactly, innit? Yeah. I mean, Drake's flopping these days. I mean, But anyway. But yeah, listen, we just have to do the back to back, and man, just let this team cook, man. Obviously, there's still going to be time for new additions. It's not ideal with the Kanati saga and Diaz, but end of the day, man, we've got a place to let this team cook. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you adieu.
There you go.
Bonjour, au revoir, sayonara. Good night, everyone. God bless. Stay
Definitely.
tuned, like, share, subscribe, get the numbers up. 12th is back like a master plan. It's let the numbers grow and let this channel blossom. God bless
Yes,
everyone.
definitely. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love. And yeah, we're going to keep watching every rumor, every medical, every facts document, and when the smoke becomes fire, as Nalante was just saying, we'll be right here to break it all down. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit the like button. 50 is our goal for every episode going forward. Subscribe if you're new, and share this with your fellow Reds. It's important because it's a movement that we're trying to do together, as we are all Reds, and that means something to show our support for each other. So big up to each and every one of you. I wish you guys a fantastic day / evening, whichever portion of the day it is for you. And with that, I bid you adieu as well. And up the Reds as always. Take care, guys. See you tomorrow.